What's going on, guys? Scar coming at you with another Magic the Gathering video. In today's video, we'll be diving into the mono blue deck that came with the starter deck. I do also apologize that the videos haven't been consistent in the past couple days. I just got really busy over the weekend and I just wasn't able to kind of put enough effort into the decks to kind of like fine tune them to get them ready for the video. So what I've been doing is I've been going through each one of these starter decks, looking at the core of what this starter deck is doing and kind of creating a list of how to go from the starter deck where it is currently to upgrading it to a point where maybe it plays a little bit smoother. Now, some of the, like my first one, I think for the mono green deck, I think I completely tore apart, and I think the second one, the mono red one, I kind of kept at the core value, which was play goblins. And in this one, I think I'm keeping at the core value of playing things with flying. The one thing I will say, I don't know what, let me know what you guys think in the bottom. Do you guys want me to just kind of build on top of what the deck already is trying to do with the cards that are in it, or do you want me to kind of start throwing in cards from the post rotation kind of like library that we have to throw into these decks to maybe try to like make them better? So today's deck, we are actually going to be doing the aerial domination deck, that is the mono blue deck, and we're going to kind of upgrade these, go over the upgrades, and then going to play some games, kind of show off some of the gameplay. So overall, this is kind of like an interesting one because the aerial domination, I think the core concept is flying, so we're going to build more into the flying of the deck itself and then kind of just break down what choices I made, and then, like I said, play some gameplay. So if you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you want to know I post more videos, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive into the starter deck and break it down and then move on to the upgrades. Alright, so first off and foremost, here is pretty much the list of what this deck is. So I think the problem with the initial starter version of this deck, I'm not saying that it's terrible, but the initial problem is that it's kind of a little bit all over the place. There's some stuff that you play very early, but there's not a lot. It's kind of like uneven in things that have flying and things that don't have flying. It's playing things like, you know, you get benefits of you playing flying, like winged words, where this spell costs one less if you have creatures with flying. But the problem is we got a lot of things in here like that don't have flying, like Wall of Ruins. Like there's a few things, like I said, that have flying, but then like I said, there's a whole bunch of things that don't. So what I did is initially I just added things that just, majority of the creatures I think in the deck I made have flying. I don't think there's actually one that doesn't have flying, but I may have missed it. But other than that, we start with that. So we added more things that have flying, and then we kind of looked at what was in the deck and kind of like what works. So what I think that works in this deck is bounce effects, like Unsummon is pretty good. I actually swapped this out for something called Stern Dismissal. That's from Ikoria. I think it's slightly better just because it also targets enchantments. So if your opponent's playing something more like Doom Foretold or something, you can always bounce a Doom Foretold, or just any other enchantment in case you know, you just want to bounce that back. And it also has the ability to bounce a creature, also counts as enchantment creature, so that's also very good. So there's that. The other thing too is I actually enjoy the card Sleep. I think this, what we're playing is more of a tempo-ish style fly-in deck, so the ability to tap down your opponent if they're playing a little bit more on the aggressive side is very good, and stalling them for a whole turn so you can either get some attack damage in without having to take a swing back is just very good. So we actually increased some more things like that. And then at the end here, we kind of looked at like some of the top end of the deck, and we actually just kind of gotten rid of a lot of the cards I just feel aren't great for the value that you're spending to pay them. Like the Riddlemaster Sphinx for 6 mana to get a 5/5 that just bounces something doesn't really seem amazing, so we kind of actually got rid of this. Overflow and Insight's very interesting. I didn't keep it, but I think 7 mana for 7 cards is okay, but I think there's other cards that maybe are cheaper that you can get more of a benefit out of. But I kind of more focus in winged words, add more copies of those, and just got rid of this. And the Sphinx here, it's okay, but yet again, it's not very strong, and it's a 3/7 flyer that whenever a creature with flying attacks, you draw a card. So it could be good in the game if you get very wide, but I think what the deck is trying to do is not getting very wide, so I actually cut some of these. Other than that, a lot of things in here I kind of like cut in general. I decided a lot of things that just had more value, I think, overall, and they also, all the things I added into the deck have flying, so that is kind of where I went with my choices there. So enough looking at the actual starter deck, let's kind of look at the actual version I upgraded and break down some of the cards that we added into the deck. All right, so as you can see right off the bat, you can see that it's a little bit more fine-tuned on exactly what is in the deck. It's not, the list is not extended as far as it was in the starter deck, but that's typical just because the starter deck usually plays a couple copies of things. It doesn't really play, you know, sets of things. It just plays, you know, 2s and 3s at most, sometimes single copies. Once in a while you get a 4 copies. So that's the one thing that you will notice. There's a lot more things that are more fine-tuned. So we, like I said, we have the Stern Dismissal. It's a pretty much an unsummon, but now it can also targets enchantment, so that just makes it slightly better. Also, if like you're playing against something like Baubles or something that's playing enchants, you can always bounce the enchantments off the creature that they're on, but definitely a good card right there. We actually added in this Singer. I'm not really 100% sure if it's great, but it's a 1/3 body, which I think is pretty good. It has flash, so you can actually surprise your opponent and actually flash this in, which the flash ability is actually okay. So if they're attacking in with something maybe that's big, or even a 1/1, you actually bring this in on turn 2 and they swing in with their 1/1. You actually make their 1/1 now a 0/1 and block it for the 1 point of damage and kill it, and then it actually doesn't do any damage to this. So it's kind of a cool little trick there. But other than that, I think it's just an okay 2-drop. There's not really too much value, I would say, at 2 that is very good flying wise. We did lose a lot of good key flyers in the mono blue area, so it is very tough to find like a decent flyer that may have flash. So there's that. Next card up is the Brazen Bar for the other bounce effects. So as you can see here, we got a couple things that have bounce effects. So I thought Brazen Bar was another good card with a solid bounce effect, and this one can also do non-land permanents, so it's any non-land permanent, so that's also very good. And the ability that's a flash flyer, that's a 3/1, is also great in the later game. Sea Dasher Octopus, because I think more so than playing the creature side, we're actually playing it for the mutate side, given any of our creatures that are flying over in the air the ability to have this mutate onto it, and given the ability that whenever that creature deals combat damage, we get to draw a card. So keeping tempo, keeping our hand full, keeping, you know, a strong cards is always very good. Warden of the Isle is one of the cards that was in the starter deck that I thought was actually pretty good, making our creature spells with flying cost 1 less to cast, so making a lot of our things cost cheaper. A lot of things do have a lot of colorless in them. You can make your Singer cost 1, you can make your Brazen Bar cost 2. Sea Dasher Octopus doesn't count because it's not flying, but there's a lot of things in here that have flying, so making them cheaper is also good. Moving on to the Winged Words, I just added more copies because I think once we get our flyer out on the board and the ability to now draw cards for 2 mana, draw 2 cards for 2 mana is actually a much better value, so I added more copies of this. Then I also added in Capture Sphere, which is from M21, which is, I kind of replaced the other enchantment that was in the deck, which I forget off the top of my head, we just saw it. But I replaced that with Capture Sphere just because it has flash, and it allows the creature enters battlefield, you tap that creature, and turn the creature is untapped or its controllers untaps it. So pretty much it's an instant speed tap down ability, and then that creature is now tapped permanently until they can get rid of the enchantment. I added in 2 more copies of Sleep, like I said, because the ability to slow down your opponent if they're playing very aggressive and making them sleep for a turn is also very good. So having that ability, I think, is just more likely to draw, is actually overall good for the deck. Then I added in Thranix, the Sun and Storm. I think he, for a 4/5 for 5 mana Flash Flyer, is actually very good. It catches your opponent off guard because I don't think they're actually expecting him. A lot of people, I think, forgot about him per se from Ikoria, so he's interesting. He makes all our spells with converted mana cost 5 or greater, cost 1 less to cast, and can't be countered. So if we do play any deck that has counters in it, he's gonna prevent our big things from being countered. And he has flash, so you can play him at the end of your opponent's turn, swing it for the following turn, and so on and so forth. Then we play the Windstorm Drake, which is like the flying lord, I guess is the best way to put it. Gives all our creatures a flying +1/+0, so it makes everything better. Applying that with the Thrix, this now costs 4 mana. Also, if we have the Warden of the Evos Isle, it costs even 1 less, so it costs 3 mana possibly for Thrix and the Warden, but overall just a decent flyer to give all our flyers just that little bit extra point of damage. Then I got Kiora, Beast of the Sea God, just a little bit of like the big, this is the big card. If we have a lot of mana, we can always tap it, get an 8/8 blue Kraken creature with token with hexproof, so unless they have a board wipe, this thing can't be targeted by a spell your opponent controls. Tap all non-land permanent, so it has a sleep effect on its own. And then on 3, we can gain control of target permanent and opponent controls and untap it, so we just gain control of whatever they may have on the board at this point. And overall, hopefully we're at that. If we get to this point, we are pretty much sealing up the game and have a good chance of winning. And then all I did was add some Castle of Interests just so we can scry and kind of look at our deck. But overall, this is kind of what I went with. I didn't want to, you know, completely rip apart the deck, as there are some pieces still left over from the starter deck. But I think this is kind of a good breakdown. There's some pieces and there's some new cards that just have a little bit better effects. But let's move on to some gameplay. Let's see how this deck does. I think the meta is kind of evolved into play mode since I did my other 2 videos. That there's some decks that are forming that are kind of more popular in the current play, the 2021 play mode. So hopefully we kind of get a good balance of some good decks and some decks that are probably about the same even level. I wouldn't say this deck is probably more of like a fun, like, you know, deck to kind of just like get yourself started in MTG Arena to eventually evolve into maybe a more meta deck. So like I said, let's get into some games, let's play around, and hopefully get some wins. All right, so our first hand actually seems pretty decent. I mean, we got a 1-drop, 2-drop, a Winged Word, so we are on the play, so that's also very good. So we are going to keep. Opponent's got Chandra's Sleeve, so it's possibly telling that they may be playing something mono red. So there's that. Oh, they got a blue spell. Interesting. I think they were examining our islands. Okay, they're playing Dimir of some sort. Dimir what? Withdrawing. We'll do this. If they draw, we can always bounce that, so we'll attack in for one. I think we keep up stuff and we'll just see what our opponent does. See what their MO is. Alright, so they play another one, which I don't think is terrible. Alright, let's just play the borrower into play, just so we can get some more damage in. We'll just be playing a little bit aggressive. And then we'll wing words and fill up our hand a little bit more. I've been good last turn. It's fine though. Alright, let's resolve all. So the thing is that what's going to happen is if our opponent starts drawing a lot of cards, we can always just bounce back one and then just reset the counters, which I feel like at that point our opponent may just scoop. They may also be playing like a Teferi, the Teferi card where we mill cards just because they're drawing a lot. It'd be my best guess. Alright, that's fine. But if we hit them hard enough, we could probably kill them before they can actually like get this out and get it off to full effect. They're really thinking about this card, but I knew they kept 2 cards on top, so I think I'm actually gonna bounce. We'll just bounce that one back, make them reset. Yeah, one turn. We'll see what they do here, because... And the other thing too is if they get the creature, we can always tap it down. It's a non-artifact creature. Or it's not the hexproof one, so it's just an 8/8, right? Yeah, it's just an 8/8. Yeah, that's a guy. Do I think I actually saved this. Over. Alright, so our opponent's playing like some sort of like deck to slow you down. I'm very curious. They have cards. Blackbreach Troll, that's fine. I'll take 3. So yeah, I mean, I'm not worried where we are right now. We're just ping him down a little bit, draw some cards. Always good. And next turn I can play both cards here. And their Blackbreach Troll doesn't do anything, so it kind of slows them down in that sense. And we have 4 devotion, right? 1. Yes, this would be 4. So we can pretty much prevent the damage. Okay, so they're not gonna... That's actually very surprising. So they're not gonna use it to cycle, so maybe they have a draw card? Interesting. So that's their thing, is to resolve. We're gonna decline. Resolve it. Which one is this? No, decline. Passive attackers. I probably should have played this slightly differently. We'll just take 2. And we'll play one of these. The 3/4. Borrower's good. If I get rid of the borrower, this becomes a 2/2. This becomes a 4. Draw a card, see what we get. Warden. Creatures these flying cost one less. Yeah, we'll end turn. I don't mind taking the damage here. Sure, they can get their guy. Athasa. That's fine. I think what I do here is I Brazen Borrower this back at the end of turn, and this turns all these back on. All right, what are we bouncing here? He does realize I can just replay any of these cards here, right? And if he grabs the Sea Dasher, then sure. That's flash. Decline. Decline. What do we got here? I'm not dead, am I? I'll take 7. No blocks. Damage. Sure. Okay, I'll take some on ones. GG's, right? 1, 2. GG's. Alright, we're on the play. This hand's okay. Got some plays. It's a little slow, but it is what it is. We're on the play too, so it's like I think it's not that bad. In that sense, we play an island. I'm actually a big fan of these islands. Oh man, Fabled Passage on the turn 1 for a black mana. Interesting. Interesting indeed. All right. Orzhov late game. Orzhov Knights. Should I annoy them and just bounce it? Or should I wait until they play something better? Make them replay it. Man. That's fine. I should have played the creature, then I could have winged words. I mean, granted, I wouldn't have known I was going to get the winged words, but it's fine. They missed a land drop. They have priority. Resolve. Alright. I'm actually gonna play this now. You saw through my strategy. No attacks. And we will draw 2. Now, is there a big knight that I gotta worry about? I also feel like he played that way too early. Unless he was like afraid that I was going to okay. That's a card. Also, I think yet again you're doing that wrong. But that's just me. I think he should wait until he has more knights, unless that's all he's got. Huh. Maybe he's gonna play them? Oh, he's got the... That's what he was. He was missing the red mana. Is he clicking the dog? It's like, come on, dude, we got some magic to play. Dub. All right. No blocks. I'll take 5. I guess he's not gonna be attacking. That's fine. Yeah, we'll attack him for 3. Why not? Make it seem like we've got some crazy play, some crazy scheme. Kind of intrigued here though, with the whole. That'd be 2. That's fine. I'll take 5. I missed my opportunity to tap it down. All right, that's fine. I'll take 7. He's got a lot of things to play though. Does he got more? He has 3 mana open. He's had priority on something. All right, he's gonna draw a card and lose a life. That's fine, helping me out. Gain another life. That's fine. I'll play this. That's a 2/3. Yeah. I could have made it 2 less, but it's okay. We'll draw some more cards. I think I can. I'll attack him for 5. Make it seem like he's got this in the bag. He does this right. Maybe he's gonna go too much all in. Probably play some things though. But if he plays a lot of things from his hand, I'll just sleep the next turn, so everything takes a nap. Just thinking about it. I see him highlighting. All right. Now he's gonna play things from his hand. He's got a lot of things. He can play pretty much everything. I also think he should have. I think if he thinks about this, he probably should have saved that. It doesn't. I'm gonna keep it under just in case he's a burn spell. I'll draw a card just in case. You know, he's at 10 though, so there is that. Can't really bounce anything that he's got though. I think he's not realizing. I don't want to bounce these because then he gets the sorcery ability again, which would be bad for us. And he's gonna get tap to 2 target creatures. Interesting. Interesting. So all his knights are bigger. We'll start dismissal this back, make him spend it again next turn. He's at 10, right? I really need to draw something here. So it's like I gotta go all in. I can go all in with 1. And we'll mutate on here again. I guess I'll put it over, because it'll get +1, so deal 1 more point of damage. Draw 2 cards. Warden Castle. It's not gonna do it in that sense. Well, actually, he doesn't have enough to kill us unless he's got like an Evercleave. He gains some life. He could tap 2 creatures. Okay. I guess he had 1. He had that or the other thing. Opponent's going first. Is hand fast enough? We'll keep it. It's got 3 mana and we got some late game, so we'll hopefully draw into some early game in the process. White. They're playing white. Okay. I'm playing blue. Alright, they're playing shrines. Got it. This could be interesting. Though, oh. That's not good. If you're playing shrines, you want to be on top of your mana. Okay. Next time we play this, playing that. Okay. They probably play board clears, more than likely. So that's the one thing I gotta watch out for, that they could be set enough for a board clear. But, you know, sometimes you just gotta go for it and hope that they're top decking lands. So, you know, hopefully as much points of damage as possible. They didn't immediately slam a land. So that's a good sign for us. Oh, never mind. Spoke too soon. Alright, that's fine. If they're playing shrines, I'm not gonna complain. I have 5. I'll deal 6 to them, I guess. And then we'll draw 2. That'll leave me 3 mana. Yeah, it's fine. You never know. Turn. Resolve. If we can hit them hard enough, we may be able to, that's fine. They have 3 shrines. They're missing blue mana, so they can't play the blue shrine unless they get the blue from that. Cultivate. Okay. I may actually just play the Sea Dasher Octopus just to get it out on the board, to be quite honest. Black and blue. It's fine. Put a blue mana in to play tapped. Pass to attackers. My turn. Yes. Let's play it as a creature. Capture Sphere is not going to do anything here. I may actually... It's 4 mana. Creatures of flying get +1/+1. Put him in a pressure situation. He's almost dead. He's at 1 life short from being dead. And that's not what I thought. That's not what I was hoping for. I was hoping for like a borrower. Though they didn't get the rainbow shrine. So that's good. There we go. Does he have something to stop him from dying though this turn? Because he doesn't have double white, so he can't board wipe. Unless he's got the extinction event. But he doesn't have anything to judgment the board. And his blue mana is tapped, so there's no bounce effects. The game? Is there a fog? There's not a fog. Okay. All right, so in closing, I mean, overall this deck performed fairly well. I wouldn't say any of the decks that we were playing against were like on a different tier than like this deck probably is, so that's probably good. I would say this deck would struggle against maybe like those more like Teamer Adventures and like the higher tiers, but this is definitely a good area to start if you want to kind of like build upon what the blue starter deck did. So that's actually pretty good, and I think like the synergy of playing a lot of things with flying, even though the flying isn't as what it used to be currently in the current meta with like standard before rotation with like Rally the Wings and playing like Azorius with like the birds and stuff. So I think that's where it kind of lacks. But overall, I think there's maybe with some things maybe coming from Zendikar, mono blue could be pretty decent. I'm hoping because they put stuff in here to have like more of a flying synergy, maybe that's just gonna be a little insight on what's to come. But with that being said, guys, let me know what you think about the deck overall. There will be a link to the deck on AetherHub that will also have the breakdown of things I removed and like what I replaced it with, to kind of give you a better idea of like how to build into this deck if you want to slowly work your way up to like this version. But let me know what you think. If you like the video, hit the like button. It definitely helps the channel a lot. If you're new here, you want to know when I post more videos, hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you in the next video.